This week on Cartoon Dumpster Dive, we cover the cartoon, The Savage Dragon. Joel, opinions on the writer's strike?
The one that's going on right now?
Yeah, no, the one that happened in 2007.
I mean, honestly, I don't know why they're striking. I'm sure it's probably going to be something around pay, working life quality. It's just, there's a reason people go on strike.
There is.
But I just can't help to think about the last writer's strike and how it ruined so many good shows. And
that's what a lot of people say. I will, however, am remiss to say the writer's strike did cause something that I unfortunately find super hilarious.
Really?
But it's like super racist. So Transformers 2 was kind of made around the writer's strike.
Oh, you mean like the 2000 and like what 8 writer strike or the 2000?
Okay. The 2008 writer strike. Transformers 2 was written, and it's a perfectly, this moment in movie history perfectly encapsulates why writers and editors and proofreaders are important. Because in Transformers 2, we're introduced to Mudflap and Skid, I believe are their names. And Shia LaBeouf's character, I don't even remember his name. He finds this old Cybertronian language. And Mudflap and Skid are both black coded. Like they're supposed to be like the African American Transformers.
Okay.
And Shia LaBeouf's character's like, "Can you read this?" And they go, "Read? We don't do much reading." And I'm like, oh my God.
See, that's you are right.
I was like, that shit is why writers are important, because there's no way of like a writer with half a brain cell would have let that go onto the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
But that, I just wanted, we stand with you, writers, our silly little podcast about cartoons, because without writers, we wouldn't have bad writers. Without bad writers, we wouldn't have the Savage Dragon cartoon, which is the cartoon we are covering this week. But right, nice segue.
Nice segue.
So without further ado, Joel, let's review that theme song.
Let's hit it.
Chicago. Ordinary cops were losing the battle. The criminal mastermind called Overlord and his super freaks held our city in their terrifying grip. Then a miracle happened. When I found him, he had no memory of his past. I helped him find an identity and a life. Now we have a fighting chance.
Okay, you get the idea.
It is.
He's the Savage Dragon. He don't know who he is, but he knows he's got to fight crime.
You know what my favorite part about that is when the guy is like, and then a miracle happened. I found him. And it's like, it's all from the point of view of the police, like, chief.
Yeah.
But, I'm sure the Savage Dragon, whoever, because I'm sure he probably got, like, transformed into it. But that's probably not a miracle for him. He probably regrets that.
As far as the comics are concerned, you do learn the Savage Dragon's origins. And the only reason, the comic's been out since
1992.
Way before the show. So before 1995 for sure. I still don't want to spoil it, because I can tell you this, researching the cartoon of Savage Dragon has made me want to do one thing. Read the Savage Dragon. Because it's got to be better than this. And from what I've heard on various, like when I was researching this and talking to various like comic book groups, it's much in agreement. This is a great comic book series.
It's been running for a stupid long time.
Super long. And I think it's still the only title that's like the same people who started it. They're the same people doing it. Like Eric Larson, the creator of Savage Dragon, he's been writing and drawing Savage Dragon since he started the book, along with starting Image Comics with everyone else. So let's get into this, Joel. How did this cartoon get made? Obviously, it was a way to capitalize on Savage Dragon in a very weird way. But let's get into the nitty gritty of it.
Yeah, so the cartoon, it aired on September 21st, 1995. So the comic that Eric Larson originally released in 92. So
okay.
3 years, comic blew up in popularity, and finally, just looking for some sort of news story that they could probably, sell merchandise for. Here's a comic that everybody loves because it was a very popular comic when it released.
My favorite part about the cartoon is the reason this comic is so popular is the reason why this cartoon is just like so panned by fans. Yeah. And Eric Larson himself is like, yeah, that shit's lame.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. When you actually start reading what Savage Dragon is supposed to be about.
Savage Dragon is violently violent.
It is targeted for a more mature audience. But
how Larson has described it in interviews is he said he wrote this comic for more mature fans who are like, they're getting tired of Marvel. They're getting a little burnt out. So he's like, I made it for a Marvel fan who doesn't like the pretentiousness of Vertigo comics. And so that's who Savage Dragon is for. So I'm sure back in the 90s when this was being made, those same fans were super excited they were getting an animated series right up until its premiere.
Oh yeah. Especially this Savage Dragon, it is just like that gritty 90s cartoon or comic through and through.
Yeah.
So very popular, but USA Network, they wanted to just capitalize on it. So they co-produced this with Universal Cartoon Studios. It aired on their like little Cartoon Express Saturday morning lineup. Right. But the more interesting thing around this, because this show was just trying to capitalize on the success.
This show has got two of our categories that we like to use. It's a Reagan show. It's made to sell merch big time.
Oh,
but also, it's a made for kids but not for kids cartoon. Because it's like RoboCop, it's like Rambo, it's like Mortal Kombat. And like these things are not for children, but there's always this one guy who's like, we gotta squeeze, get some capital out of this franchise. So you gotta have a kid something.
Yeah.
So they can get their grubby little paws on it.
I
describe children like I don't have a child.
Grimy little claws.
They're grimy, sticky little germ-covered mitts. Those little bastards. Not my
Love
son.
you, son.
He won't be like that. He's a special angel who you might hear during this recording because he's at the stage of happy squeals. So
let him sing.
I would apologize for it, but who doesn't want to hear an adorable child's laughter of happiness?
Oh yeah.
If you don't like it, it means you just wish you were that happy now. I get why you're not. I
just
do.
jealous. You're
So
just
don't take it
jealous
out
at
on
that
him,
point.
my precious baby boy.
Andrew's like ready to fight somebody over here.
I'll fight any of you nerds.
So the comic is so far more interesting. Even just some of the story behind the comic is so much more interesting than the cartoon. So like you said, Andrew, Eric Larson, this comic has been basically the same like writer, artist, basically since the beginning.
Yeah. It's impressive.
It is. It's
That's
very
like
impressive.
manga artist impressive. Because
Oh,
that
yeah.
doesn't really happen out in the West.
No, it doesn't. But it's created by Eric Lawson. I'm sure we've said his name already, but that
Oh, yeah,
was
tons.
who created this. And he actually said that he first came up with the dragon, as he would call it, when
Right.
he was a kid in elementary school.
That's gotta be an amazing feeling as a creator.
Yeah. So he created the dragon. He said like like every kid who is kind of into comics, you kind of draw your own little comics.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But so he did that, and then a redesigned version of
Yeah.
the dragon made an appearance in 1982 in a 2 issues of a comic called Graphic Fantasy.
Okay.
And then really from there, he did like the dragon would show up throughout, like, I believe, like different Marvel comics and things like that.
Yeah,
like
because
whatever studio he was working with at that time.
he worked for Marvel for a long time. His time with Marvel and DC is what inspired him and several other very known comic book artists to start Image Comics. Because
Yep.
you guys don't come here for comic book knowledge. We don't know why you come here at all most of the time.
Well,
But we appreciate that you do. We did hit 25,000 downloads somehow. And
Well,
yeah.
I asked you before we started recording, because you're my comic book knowledge guy, if I want to
Yeah.
know anything. I was like, hey, why did they actually leave?
But
to
yeah,
form
so
Image?
they Marvel and DC, they're the two big boys of comics. They've been forever. Back when there was no competition like Top Cow and IDW and stuff like that, if you made it under Marvel's roof, they owned it. Screwed over a bunch of people. I don't know their names specifically, but it was a ton. So you want to go work for someone else, and you're like, hey, I want to take my character that I created, or in future times, so to speak, you made a character, he's real popular, they shove him in an MCU movie, that movie makes $1 million, and you're like, well, I made the character, do I get anything for that? And they're like, yeah, you can go fuck yourself is what you can go do, that's our character. So basically, the three that I know off the top of my dome is Todd McFarlane, Eric Larson, and Rob Liefeld. They started Image Comics. And Image Comics' big sell thing for creators, at least, is you make it, you keep it. And it's been that way the whole time. The characters can interact. They can universe share. That's fine. But if you leave, you take your shit with you. Like, if you want to. If you don't want to, I guess you can leave it there. But there was this big thing when Rob Liefeld left. I don't know what for. But they had this big, like, crossover event to kill off all of his characters that he didn't take with him. But yeah, that's basically, like, really quick, that's the story of Image Comics.
Yeah.
Creators got mad at the big dogs for taking their stuff and not giving them the credit they deserve.
Yep.
Hey, that's like the writer's strike that's going on. Perfect.
But Andrew, if you're going to leave one comic book studio and start your own comic book studio, you got to have some original comics lined up.
That's
And
right.
Ted
Man,
McFarlane.
they hit the ground running.
Todd McFarlane. Sorry, I said Ted earlier. Todd McFarlane. Spawn. All day long.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that. Eric Lawson. He came in with, hey, I came up with this character back in kindergarten.
That's such a great, like, I got tons of lore. Been working on this since I've been shitting yellow. You know what I'm saying? And then Rob Liefeld comes in. He goes, as long as I ain't got to draw feet, I can make whatever you need.
Whatever. Just don't ask me to do
You
a
need
feet
pockets?
comic.
You need a guy with pockets? I'm your fucking guy.
But that's kind of the quick version of that. But
And then Savage Dragon got so popular, like in 3 years, I guess, and they made a series.
Just blew up in popularity.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
Still
but that's
popular
it,
to this
Andrew.
day, I do believe.
Oh yeah, it's still running strong. I think there's still new issues of the comic being released to this day. But Andrew, hit us with some of the voice actors.
Okay, so the voice cast for Savage Dragon is Jim Cummings is Savage Dragon Doubleheader. I'm gonna mess this guy's name up, but it's Renee Aberjones. He's Horde in Miles Legion. Frank Welker is Basher, Arachnid, Randolph Cherry, and the Sheriff. Jennifer Hale is She-Dragon. Jeff Bennett is Sergeant Howard Neisman, Mako the Shark, Barbaric, Howard Neisman, and Gaff. Tony J is Overlord and Bulkhead. Kath Sochi is Alex Wilde and Rita Mermaid. It's not Mermaid, it's Mermaid. I don't know. I'm so bad with this. Dorian Harwood is Lieutenant Frank Darling and R. Richard Richards. And that's the cast. So for their other works, we have Jim Cummings as Clamp Down in the 2015 Transformers Robots in Disguise. Renee Aberjonois is Constable Odo in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Frank Welker is here's a one that I didn't know, but he's kind of like the voice of Garfield in like newer Garfield stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we have Jennifer Hale as she's Rivet, not Ribbit, Rivet, and Ratchet and Clank.
Okay.
Rift Apart. She does a lot of video game voices more than she does animation. Jeff Bennett, you might remember him from last week's episode where we did Johnny Bravo Goes to Bollywood. Tony J is Baron Mordo in Spider-Man. Kath Sochi is Queen Mara in Young Justice. And finally, Dorian Harewood is Doc Bromwell in The Spectacular Spider-Man. So let's get into this cartoon. First and foremost, Season 1 and Season 2 were done by two different animation studios.
Okay.
And it is like night and freaking day in quality.
Really?
Oh man, Season 2 is like leaps and bounds better than Season 1. It's crazy. Like Season 1 looks like a generic superhero Saturday morning cartoon. The Savage Dragon is like a highly stylized comic book. Not super duper highly stylized, but there's like a certain way of the characters that like definitely is something that
Yeah.
is missed in season 1. Season 2, however, they do a lot more. They experiment a lot more, and it works out very well for them. The characters are drawn more proportionately with the season 1 is action figure season. That's what it is. Season 1, they look like they're action figures. They're proportioned like they're action figures. They're action figures. The other one is Alex Wilde in the comics. It's supposed to be Latin. She's a ginger in season 1. They change it in season 2.
What?
Oh yeah, they just randomly like whitewashed the shit out of her in season 1.
Okay.
Then unexplainedly, she's Latina in the second season.
All right.
So I will say another thing that I found absolutely hilarious is in the intro we learn about Overlord, and he's the top freak, and he's in charge of all the other freaks. And what do you think his master plan is?
To take over the ward. Or no, take
smaller.
over the city.
Yeah,
that he's in.
He just wants to take over. He doesn't even want us to take over the state of Illinois. It's just Chicago. I mean,
Just Chicago.
like,
Chi-town.
and
Come on.
I laughed my ass off, but like, we know Chicago is being pretty rough now. They were making jokes about Chicago being rough in 96, 95. I'm like, has Chicago always been like this? And I guess so. I guess Chicago's always been like, they'll fuck you up if you come here. And this,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you were listening, Joel, but there's one of the voice actors played a character called R. Richard Richardson.
What?
So there's a lot. So Eric Larson had a lot of parallels to like Marvel. He wanted to satirize them. Of course, Arachnid is like his fuck you to Spider-Man,
Yeah.
because he's like this nasty spider mutant that lives in the sewer and eats children. They don't do that in the show. They do that in the comic, but it's just like you can definitely tell like the original Image comics, they were written with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, and rightfully
yeah.
so. Jack Kirby has a similar story of like the whole Darkseid and the New Gods thing is just so he could kill a bunch of Asgardians through illustration
Yeah.
after Marvel screwed him over. So, but we don't have that here. It's just heavily implied that he eats people because it's a Saturday morning cartoon, and these they got plastic to hawk to these grubby fingered kids. You know what I'm saying?
Those buff day.
Getting their parents' hard-earned money for their allowance. They ain't got no job, but they still need toys.
Hey, that birthday presents, Christmas presents. You know where you would find these toys, Andrew?
The pharmacy?
The pharmacy. I guarantee you that's the only
Definitely.
the only store these toys ever saw.
This is kind of the problem with these types of series is who is this for? Because if you're a child and you watch the Savage Dragon cartoon, no parent in their right mind is going to pick you up that comic book. They're going to look at a few pages and be like, no, you can't.
I'll go ahead and tell you, I think it's because I remember being 92. I was a baby, basically.
Yeah.
Still at that age. But I remember, like, as a, 7-year-old kid, 8-year-old kid going to, like, a comic book store. Basically, even, like, I remember gas stations would sell, like, little comics. And just seeing the cover of a Savage Dragon comic and being like, oh, that's so cool.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I guess, hey, why not kid it down and sell it to those kids?
It's just trying to get money.
But
but unlike
doesn't
RoboCop, and Rambo, and to a lesser extent Mortal Kombat, especially with those, they're movies. And you can have like a cool moment with your dad
Yep.
and be like, because your mom doesn't do this. Not many. This is definitely like something your dad does. Because your dad, he's not batting 1,000. And he thought it was going to be a good bonding moment for you guys to sit down and watch Rambo First Blood. And
they drew first blood, not me.
You just got to realize that whenever your dad accidentally shows you a way too mature movie for you, and you look back on it and you're like, Dad, what were you thinking? It's always not much. And like, shit, I thought you'd like it.
I've always
like watching Officer Murphy get brutally gunned down in the first 10 minutes of RoboCop and be like, oh shit, yeah, that does happen.
forgot about that.
Whoops.
Nah, he'll be fine.
Don't tell your mom.
He'll drink the soda. Forget about it.
And drink this soda. You want a Happy Meal? Dads are very much like they're the briber parent.
Oh yeah,
because they're fucking up and they don't want anyone else to know. They're like, look, what was that game you wanted again? Let's go get it. And we just forget this whole. I accidentally let you jump off the house.
I accidentally bought you every issue of Savage Dragon, and you stayed up reading.
You know
them.
what, Savage Dragon?
Now you've got PTSD.
Because I can guarantee you, especially a '90s mom, good grief, if she saw their child reading Savage Dragon, she'd be like, Lawrence, what is this? I thought it'd be cool.
Okay. I remember I begged my parents to take me to go see the Spawn movie in theaters for my birthday, and oh man, it was like I had to like plead. I was like, please take me, because I was only like 8 or 9 at the time.
Yeah. In Demons and From Hell.
Yeah.
Appropriate for I mean, your parents were religious too, and they couldn't be like, Joel, if you don't, really follow the ways of the Lord, this will happen to you. And you'd be like, I get cool ass demon powers. It sounds great.
Yeah. I get this cape.
Sounds cool as hell.
I get this cape that just becomes anything. Let's do it. Come on now.
So let's get back to Savage Dragon.
Yep.
I feel maybe when the writer's strike is over, I'm dating the hell out of this episode. I don't care. When it's over, maybe we go back. We go back to Savage Dragon, and we realize that adult animation is the thing. And we make a Savage Dragon animated series. I don't really want to do live action. Too many characters would be CGI. There's like an 8-foot red guy called Barbaric. And there's like arachnids, like this huge fat spider dude. Everybody looks crazy.
Yep.
So make it animated. Make it an adult animation.
You know who could do it, and I think would do a very good job?
Who's that?
The same company that did Invincible.
Oh yeah, no, they would do a good job.
Release it on Prime.
They kill it in the animation department.
Yeah. Because I think it has that feel of, hey, this is a comic book cartoon, but like they
it's another Image one too. Invincible's Image.
Exactly.
Actually, I think Robert Kirkman was one of the people that started Image.
I really
might have been.
That would be really cool. I would love to see them do something with Savage Dragon, because I like that whole gritty, like detective cop.
I mean,
story.
And plus, it's like Savage Dragon has a phenomenal design for animation.
Oh yeah,
he's got like a design that I could compare to Sonic the Hedgehog, because like Sonic has made like maybe 2 or 3 good games within the modern era. People still love Sonic the Hedgehog, and I think that at least 90% of it is just his awesome character design.
He
And
is.
Savage Dragon has just one of those designs, like all he needs to be put into. I mean, there's the comic book world, and then there's the world everyone else lives in. And yeah, the MCU has meshed it a bit, but it's like with all the safe characters. It's like all the characters that everybody knows.
Yeah.
But like Savage Dragon's got one of those designs, like just a silhouette. The season 2 intro does a really good logo for Savage Dragon that I can't praise enough as like being a really good, just like silhouette design.
Yeah.
And so like, and people would lose their fucking minds if they were like, we're going to try again at another animated series, but we're going to make it like good.
Yeah.
And we're going to try, and we're going to not sell you bullshit. We're going to make it like the comics. People
Which
would
is
lose
going
their
to get
minds.
you a show. A show
Yeah.
to make fans happy. I would.
And
I would be.
Yeah, I
all
would
for
love
it.
to see it. I'm gonna go try to find some trade paperbacks because I read a little bit while we were researching for this episode, of course, but definitely not enough. I need more Savage Dragon in my life.
Yep.
I regret that it took a podcast about unknown cartoons to get me into it, but life's a journey, not a destination. But Joel, I believe it's time for your new reoccurring segment, reviews that are savage and reviews that have the heart of a dragon.
Man, Andrew, that
Right on.
man.
I'm on fire.
I
don't know. That one seemed kind of easy.
mean, I just hate the fact that I really ain't got nothing for you.
There are no reviews.
So they're all reviews, but Andrew, okay, so we have the official longest review I've ever seen for a
nice.
cartoon. If you go pull it up, it's the 8 out of 10 star. There's only 2 reviews.
Okay.
8 out of 10 and a 6 out of 10.
Holy moly. Wait a minute. The rating. So at the very bottom of the rating of the 8 out of 10, they go rating 3 stars.
I know. I love that. But they give it an 8 out of 10.
But they give it an 8. I bet you it's so they could see it. By Hellraiser 7.
Hellraiser. So I hate to tell you, man, I don't have anything because I'm not reading that.
No,
review.
that's a novel. I understand. I would say. So let's just go to our closing thoughts. I really hate that this show is. I kind of hate that this show panders to a young audience because I know that that's not what it was for. Also, I love Jim Cummings. This is not the role for him.
Yeah.
He is not. He doesn't have the voice to play a gruff police officer
Yeah. Yeah.
who is also like a 8-foot tall mutant muscle man.
Swamp.
It doesn't work. He tries, and it's just like nothing against Jim Cummings. He's probably one of the most talented voice actors
Yeah.
ever. And I mean, this show has a lot of voice acting talent, for sure. But yeah, this was not, Jim Cummings was not the pick. I don't know who you would pick for a role like this.
But not him.
But not him. Especially not, I mean, in the 90s, I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
Because Keith David was already Spawn, so.
Yeah. But
So I'm not sure who to pick, but Jim Cummings was definitely not the right pick.
would
So.
you suggest people go watch the cartoon?
No, because the thing about it is, they should just go read the comic.
That's what I'm thinking.
With the RoboCop, with the other ones that we've covered, I mean, at least RoboCop and Rambo, they had like some, like, I don't want to say that they were good, but they had like some kind of funny watchability about them.
Yeah.
But this one is just, it's just so generic. for something that's so unique, too. Like, the comic is so unique, and then this is just so generic. Like, it's like everything. I think the worst part about this show is everything you would like about the comic is the worst part about the cartoon. It's
Gotcha.
unique. The cartoon's generic.
Yep.
The comic is violent. The cartoon is just unnecessarily kid friendly.
Gotcha. Yep. I said it before we started recording, but to me, it seems like it's one of those, like how to draw manga, but how to write and like do a Saturday morning cartoon.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, just read the comic. It definitely
just read the comic.
It's got me.
Join us if
Exactly.
this is your first time hearing about the Savage Dragon. For some reason, you picked here. Do yourself a favor. Find it, buy it, actually buy it, digital or however, and give it a read. It's you'll love it. There's a reason it's been going for over 30 years. So
we'll do a cartoon dumpster dive comic book club.
Yeah, we'll put it on the Patreon.
There we go.
Ooh, would you like that for your bonus episode, reader?
I'll read
us
the same.
Describing a comic badly to you rather than a cartoon.
I meant like us all, like they can all read the same comic we're reading. We all find like one trade paperback, and we're gonna read this, and then we can all talk about it on our Discord if you want.
That's true.
Ooh,
and if you'd like to join that Discord, you can go to patreon.com/cartoondd. There we have the $5 tier that gets you every sticker we've ever made, access to the Discord channel, bonus episodes, and I recently had some pins made. So for a limited time, if you subscribe to the Patreon, you also get a pin. But you gotta get it soon. These pins are gonna be here forever. We have a website, cartoondumpsterdive.com. There you can request your own episode, request for someone for us to interview. Can even be your mom. You can request 2 cartoons go head to head in our Junkyard Brawl. We have a Twitter handle CartoonDD. We have a Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, all Cartoon Dumpster Dive. And as always, thank you so much for giving us a 5-star review on the podcasting platform of your choice. I do appreciate the recent one on the iTunes app that just started out with Mario. Have a great rest of your week. Go savage on it.
See ya.
Let's get savage. That would be his catchphrase. If they went full Saturday morning cartoon, you know what I mean?
Let's get savage.
This has been a Lugho podcast.